Who's there?
Okay, man, just chill, alright? Look, I was wasted and I wandered in, so that was my bad, alright? So I'm just gonna leave, okay?
Incredibly convenient for this story that this guy gets to live in a house in a completely abandoned neighborhood where not even homeless people dare to tread.
How is that convenient? The guy chose to stay in this abandoned neighborhood because he likes isolation. In other words, you're making it seem like his living situation just happened by chance when it was actually his choice.
Yo, kill that already.
Money is particularly dickish to the guy disabling the alarm that, if not disabled, will cause them to get arrested.
Yes, the movie is characterizing one of its characters. Don't know why you think that's a sin, but okay, I guess.
Money's burgling skills are on par with Marv and Harry from Home Alone.
Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
Peeing or masturbating? After seeing the fluid that hit the floor, I'm gonna say pee, but this dude really enjoys peeing, doesn't he?
What, do you not enjoy releasing a fat stream?
Take the dead! Release the river!
Bye-bye, Detroit.
Hola, California.
Wait, you're going away, Rock?
This trio of bandits have robbed several houses together, but this is the first time they've collectively discussed their plans to run away.
Yes. Again, I don't know why you think this is a sin. Rocky and Money are dating, so they made their plan together, but Alex is a third wheel, so not telling him during the planning kinda makes sense, especially considering Money doesn't want Alex to go with them.
Windows screensaver is expositional enough to be a screensaver, while leaving the desktop image of Alex and his dad visible for the viewer to see.
Okay, and the movie made a mistake because... I mean, having a picture of you and your dad as your screensaver really isn't unrealistic at all, so I don't know what you're complaining about here.
Oh, where the f*** is this place? They're in a restaurant where they obviously ordered some food, but it's abandoned enough to talk openly about the house robberies.
Jeremy points things out on the screen, cliche.
House is with your dad's security company, I already checked.
Not only does this insane blind man have a security monitoring system in this dilapidated neighborhood instead of just bars on his windows and a load of guns, but it so happens to be a security system installed and monitored by Alex's dad's company, which is impossibly convenient.
It is a coincidence that the security company would be Alex's dad's company. That's true. But that still doesn't automatically denote a sin. Coincidences happen all the time in real life. Besides, the first part of this sin where you made it seem like a blind guy living by himself wouldn't install a security system is just ridiculous. Let me repeat myself for the people in the back row. The guy is blind and lives alone, and you don't think he would install a security system?
That amount brings a serious cop presence. I'll do an investigation.
But all the other robberies you guys have done, they've been like, well, these guys stole less than $10,000 worth of stuff, so we won't need to investigate that too hard. And by the way, isn't it weird these robberies keep coming up just short of $10,000 every time? F it, let's go catch some people speed.
Investigations into non-violent crimes such as theft usually aren't as thorough as violent crime investigations. Let me get my buddy Hellfiles in here to give you an example of this process from a real murder case that happened in 2001. What's up, Hellfiles? I'm glad you called in the big guns for this sin. To demonstrate this point, let's take a look at a case I covered recently on my channel. The murder of Heinrich Swiak. Apologies if my pronunciation of his name is terrible. Heinrich was killed on September 11th, 2001, the same day the World Trade Center was attacked by terrorists. Because of this coincidence, the NYPD could only send a non-violent investigation team to gather evidence from the scene of Heinrich's murder, which meant information was much more limited than if the violent crime investigators had been available. His case has still never been solved to this day. Thanks, Hellfiles. So you see, there are discrepancies in the effectiveness of investigation units. A theft case where a small amount of property was stolen won't be investigated as thoroughly, but a high-profile case will be investigated very thoroughly.
If we do this right, we never have to do it again.
But you have no way of knowing how to do it right, because you don't know if he even has this money in his house at all. The whole plan to commit major larceny is built on a hunch that this man is the kind of weirdo that just keeps very large sums of money in his basement, or between his mattress and box spring, or in a safe behind a busted piece of drywall. I mean, they'll be right, but still.
If they're right about it, then how is it a sin? I mean, they made an educated guess based on the guy's background, and it turned out to be accurate. How the hell is that a mistake of the movie?
Apparently, if you Google someone's address, it won't just show you their house on Google Maps, it will also bring up articles about court cases the homeowner was involved in.
Are you trying to say this won't happen? You clearly have no idea how easy it is to find information about people online. If this channel was big enough, I'd be segueing into a VPN sponsorship right now.
You have evidence that this family is broken. Watching cops, numerous large empty beer bottles on the table, chimney smoking, and this guy has swastika tattoos. It's almost insulting there isn't a crack pipe or a body outline lying on the floor somewhere.
So you're complaining about the movie visually giving you information instead of outright explaining it to you? That's dumb.
So are kids these days just texting each other in all caps now? Or are they just all caps texting because they're trying to match the blunt and aggressive tone of the movie's first 10 minutes? Also, why does she have this phone set to military time?
The texting part of this sin is weird because he's clearly just getting the message across that he's ready for this very important heist. As for the military time thing, my girlfriend has her phone set to military time because it just makes more sense than what most Americans would consider normal time.
Hey, you know where there is surf? California. What do you say you and I move there together? Would you like that?
The movie tries to make Rocky's thieving into something good so that she can get her sister out of this house. But stealing an Army veteran's dead daughter settlement? Geez, maybe this broken home isn't broken enough to make that okay.
That's kind of the point, isn't it? There are two sides to every story. The movie isn't trying to say that the thieves are 100% justified in their actions and there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. It's more complicated than a simple black and white question of ethics.
Of course, this guy lives in a desolate ghost town neighborhood where he's the only one left. Somehow this neighborhood didn't get turned into a Walmart.
You already said basically this exact same thing earlier, so Jeremy double dips cliche.
Is that a new tattoo?
Yeah.
I was compelled to get it because I knew you'd ask me about it, forcing me to explain more of my backstory.
Yes, the tattoos serve as a vehicle to reveal the main character's backstory. I don't know why you think that's a sin. The movie has to find some way to do that, and tattoos are as good a way as any. Besides, people get meaningful tattoos all the time in real life. Why are you acting like that never happens?
She got so fed up with the crying that she would lock me in the trunk of her car. But there was this, a little hole in the trunk, and one time a ladybug flew in. Kept me company. Made me feel safe.
I'm not one to judge someone's got thrown in a trunk experience, but that sounds like bullshit to me. The lighting alone would prevent you from even seeing the ladybug, much less get comforted by it.
Notice how she mentioned there was a little hole in the trunk, which was how the ladybug got in the first place? That hole obviously provided enough light for her to see it.
That's her guy.
You mean the guy you said was a shut-in and hasn't left the house in 5 days according to your surveillance video? How'd you miss him leaving the house?
Because he went for a walk when they weren't watching the house, meaning they missed him leaving and are only now seeing him? That was an easy answer.
There's 4 locks. You got the other keys?
You mean you guys have been casing this place for 5 days and you don't know that he uses 4 locks on his front door?
They haven't gotten close enough to the house to be able to know this. Remember that Rottweiler the guy owns? Yeah, they were only able to do reconnaissance from a distance.
When you give backup keys to the security company.
Because no one gives keys to their security company? Movie keeps making me sin this.
Jeremy double dips cliche.
What about that window? There's no bars on it.
Yeah, but why? This guy has 4 locks on his front door, some of which he doesn't trust the security company with, puts bars on his window, has a bolt on the cellar door, but he's not savvy enough to put bars on one of the windows in his house? Hell, he put a motion sensor here, so he knew there was a chance someone might try this, including a security company he doesn't trust. Apparently the blind guy decided to set an alarm on basically silent, so that it wouldn't wake him up. If his sensor is armed, then opening that window would immediately sound the alarm, not quietly ask you to enter the code.
These few sins are all actually pretty good. I let them all play together because they all have to do with the same general premise. The movie kinda creates a situation for the main characters to be able to break into the house. The stuff Jeremy pointed out here is all genuinely sinful, so take 3 sins back.
She must have got it by now. She's fine.
Yeah, like you really give a f.
Why say this right now? Does Money seem like the type of guy who won't do something stupid if you insult him in the middle of a robbery?
Alex let his emotions get the better of him. That's a mistake of the character within the movie, not a mistake of the movie itself.
So is this really the plan? They're just gonna snoop around the house and hope they stumble upon a large sum of money that isn't under lock and key inside the house?
They clearly know that any money they find will most likely be under lock and key. They're just hoping to be able to bypass the locks. To answer your question, yes, their plan is to search the house until they found what they came for. If you don't have a different suggestion, then why are you acting like this is a sin?
Just so you know, this hammer will be useful later in the movie. Here it is up close so you can remember which hammer it is.
Again, I don't know how the movie visually communicating something to its audience is somehow a mistake.
Grieving father watches, or in this case, listens to, home videos of his kids' cliche.
That's not a cliche.
And here's a Rick Grimes gun, completing the tour of weapons that will be important later.
Jeremy makes a pop culture.
Any idea what bringing a gun to a burglary means?
Damn, dude, shut the hell up. Stop trying to make it sound like you're the good burglar.
He may not be good, but at least he didn't bring a gun, so he's still better than money, which was exactly his point. Why is this a sin?
I don't really think just because you jerk off to her Instagram selfies that makes you a Romeo.
How did you find out about that? Oh, he's talking to Alex. Carry on.
Jeremy has a boner.
Kind of find it hard to believe that the blind guy doesn't hear Alex's footsteps at any time during this close call in the hallway, or his attempt to get out of the way, or smell him, or notice a change in the atmosphere, or get a feeling in his trick knee. He seems to only be perceptive when it plays into the story's plot.
Jeremy is one of those people who actually thinks that being blind makes your other senses superhuman. This guy isn't Daredevil, he's a normal-ass dude.
Considering the paranoia this guy displays, and how he sensed there was more than one robber here, seems like he'd be a little more cautious about the safe.
This is another good sin. Why the hell would he check the safe when he doesn't know if the first robber was alone? He should definitely have more sense than this.
The blind guy is actually keeping thousands of dollars in a safe inside his house. I guess after he won his settlement, the judge handed him a briefcase filled with money, which I assume is how it works in Detroit.
Or he cashed the settlement check and withdrew a bunch of it from the bank to store it in his house, where he thinks it will be safer.
Who's calling this asshole at 3 a.m. right now? And since when are phone buzzes that loud?
The phone is only that loud for the benefit of the audience. The overly loud volume acts as a jump scare in the quiet house, and as someone who watches movies for a living, I think you would have known that.
The blind guy can't smell the actual people standing right in front of him, but he can smell their shoes.
If he can't smell them, it's obviously because their body odor and or deodorant isn't strong enough for him to smell it. Don't know why you think that's a sin, but okay. As for smelling their shoes, that part tracks, especially considering they've been pretty active in their shoes so far in the movie.
The blind man has this girl tied up in the basement, complete with a string that rings a bell to tell him she's moving. But why did the fluorescent lights turn on and off too? Is it for the jump scare?
They could be motion activated? Wait, did you seriously not think of that possibility?
Safe, which has up to 8 numbers you can fill in, has the exact same code as the money safe. And why does he have another safe down here for the keys, when he could simply have those in the same safe upstairs? Well, when I finally release my kidnapped victim, I want to make sure the keys are down here already. Better get another safe for convenience.
Keeping things in separate safes is actually a smarter move than simply sticking everything in the same place. If someone breaks into one safe and all your stuff is there, boom, it's gone in one fell swoop, whereas splitting it up cuts your losses.
Convenient abandoned neighborhood continues to be convenient.
Jeremy triple dips cliche.
The chance to walk slowly the f*** out of here, wasted.
Jeremy doesn't understand how fear can overpower your logical reasoning skills.
Stupidly saying things out loud ex machina.
That's not an ex machina, my guy. How do you still not know what that means?
What are you waiting for? You don't have another kidnapped girl who killed your daughter down here, do you? Gun's empty, but still a sin.
Wait, he admits the gun is empty but still sins it? You can't make this shit up.
I see light.
But why? First off, didn't the blind guy turn off the breakers? Second off, if he only turned off the breakers for the basement, why did he do that instead of the whole house? Third off, even if he didn't, why is there a light up here? The last time I saw this area, all it had was a red light, which should be off anyway, and no light behind the door. So you're telling me this blind man turned on a light before he went to the cellar door to start shooting people?
Rocky and Alex saw the red light at the top of the stairs, which is still on because the blind guy never turned it off. I agree he should have turned it off, but he didn't. He made a mistake, which isn't automatically a mistake of the movie, seeing as people make mistakes all the time in real life.
That's again vents that are big enough for an adult to crawl through to make John McClane proud.
Jeremy makes a pop.
Alex survives this to an insane degree where he's only unconscious for a few minutes and has no scars or death afterwards.
I agree that he should have some cuts on his body, but death? Are you kidding me? He fell out of a window. Why would he die from that unless he landed on his neck or head? Which he didn't. How fragile do you think the human body is?
As I see Alex survive every fall, crash, choking, and head smashing in this movie, I wonder why Charles Xavier never recruited this kid.
Jeremy makes a...
Cindy took my child away from me. I thought it only fair that she give me a new one.
And here's yet another whammy for the movie, introducing us to the wonderful world of this guy artificially inseminating his kidnapped victims to get a new child. Believe me, this makes the movie way better when you find out about Papa Dragon's basement full of
So his complaint is that a horror movie ramped up the horror in its story. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Horror movies aren't supposed to have horrifying things in them. They're supposed to have pretty flowers, sunshine, and rainbows the whole way through.
So this movie officially turns the villain-hero thing on its head to justify all the actions we've seen in this movie. These kids who rob people's houses are now forgiven because this guy's even worse than they are.
Who is forgiving the thieves immediately upon this revelation? If you're doing that, then you're just stupid. The movie never suggests the thieves are in the right, more that the thieves and the blind guy are both in the wrong. Why do you think everything needs to be black and white? I mean, if you seriously think the burglars are justified now, that's a problem with your own moral compass, not the movie.
The movie fails to show Alex's backup power supply and computer screen POV that he obviously has built inside him from his time at Skynet.
Jeremy makes...
Not a rapist. I never forced myself on her.
Your Honor, all I did was artificially inseminate her while keeping her against her will. So, despite the fact that I'm going to jail forever, at least I have my morals.
The movie isn't suggesting that this is moral. It's suggesting that the character within the movie thinks it's not completely morally reprehensible. You really have to learn how to separate the characters from the filmmakers.
Considering what we know of Alex, this is literally Deus Ex Machina.
No, it's really not. Yeah, you made a joke earlier about Alex being a god, and a true Deus Ex Machina requires a god, but Alex isn't actually a god, so my hands are tied.
Even after being bludgeoned with a metal hammer, assaulted by a jizzbaster, and handcuffed to a padded room, this old blind man was able to rush up behind them and shoot Alex before they leave the house.
Wait, but you literally just seen the movie for the blind guy being able to shoot Alex, and now you're saying that exact same thing but with different words. Jeremy, double dips cliche.
Tired and beaten Rocky still manages to outrun this dog. Rocky has an amazing magical bag that disappears at random times, so no one else can steal it if it's filled with money. Not only does Rocky have a magical disappearing bag, she also has magical regenerative pants that can sew themselves back together after getting cut during the attempted insemination.
These are another few good sins. Honestly, there have been a few other sins throughout the video that have been solid. I just didn't want to address each one individually, seeing as that would make this video even longer than it already is. Take another 5 sins off for the surprising amount of decent sins in this video.
This is clever, but I feel like taking her sister to California and getting a waitressing job is easier than the bull she's going through just to keep the money.
Yeah, it is, but this is the boat she now finds herself in. She has to work with what she's got. She can't just snap her fingers and make the dog disappear. She's not Thanos.
Oh, you. You and your face.
No, the guy wants to impregnate her. Face won't accomplish. Oh, you were just making an angry exclamation. My bad, carry on.
The cops come quickly to a house in the middle of a neighborhood no one knew still existed, and they somehow don't see Rocky running after turning this corner.
What do you mean nobody knew the neighborhood still existed? Sure, it's mostly abandoned, but the old guy still lives here, and the authorities clearly know that given how quickly they show up.
Visually impaired man was able to defend himself, shooting and killing both his attackers on the spot.
Detectives were baffled at all the jizz in the obvious kidnapping dungeon in his basement, but what a man does with his jizz in a turkey baster and an obvious kidnapping dungeon in his own house is his business.
Yeah, this part of the movie is utterly ridiculous. There's no way an old blind man hid the kidnapping dungeon from the police. Take another sin back.
Hey, you still awake, Lois, honey? Dad? That's right. I'm your daddy. Shh, 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 shh. Don't talk, Lois. Don't talk. Just let me do all the work. Yeah. Now feel my warm breath on the nape of your neck. My hands on your big, soft boobs running down your big man-like... Holy crap, it's Chris!